Today we're going to be talking about the very basic elements of composition. I'll be going over why composition is important, some compositional guides, some tools that you can use in your composition to draw your viewer's eye, and finally, how to create space in your composition. If we haven't met before, my name is Matt, and I'm an amateur photographer, and I just love getting out there taking photographs. I'm trying to improve my videos. So the one thing that I'm trying to improve this time is my energy. And so if you think that I'm doing better with my energy, leave a comment below and let me know. And if you need something to compare it to, take a look at this video right here and then drop a comment right there. All right, now on with the video. Why is composition so important? Essentially, it is the fundamental basic of photography. You can know your exposure triangle inside and out, but if you can't compose a photograph, it's not really going to be a good photograph. You'll be a good photographer on paper, but you want to be a good photographer on photo paper. This is your signature stamp. This is how you are going to create your name in a photography space. And it is the most essential element, in my opinion, of photography. I just can't stress to you enough the importance of it. Now, when you're making compositions, this is all you get to work with, is your frame. Now you can adjust your frame. You can shift it to the left or shift it to the right. If you have a zoom lens, you can zoom in, which makes things appear closer, but it also reduces the amount of stuff in your frame. Or you can zoom out and get a wide angle photograph, which increases the amount of stuff in your frame, but it also makes you have to think more about what exactly you're putting in the frame. When you're building that frame, you want to be conscious of what's in it, but you also want to be conscious of what not to put in it. For example, you don't want things creeping in to the side of your frame. You know, these branches and whatnot, they might creep into the side of your frame and detract from your overall photograph. Compositional guides the tools that you're going to use that are just basically on a psychological level, they make your photographs a better photograph. And the first tool is probably one that everyone's heard of, and that's the rule of thirds. Of course, all of these guides are just guides, okay? There are times when you're going to be able to break them, and there are times when you're going to be required to break them. And compositionally, to put your own signature stamp on it, sometimes you'll always break them. Who knows? But to get started, you need to know these. And like I said, the first one is the rule of thirds. And what that is it's making a tic-tac-toe board basically on the back of your camera. Because like I showed you, you get that diagonal space and that's all you've got to work with. So on the grid, you've got your lines that intersect. You should place your subject at one of those intersections if at all possible. If not possible, then you should place your subject on at least one of the lines of the grid. Either way, however you do it, that is the very basic nature of the rule of thirds. Now it gets a lot more complex than just that. For example, you can use the rule of thirds to separate your foreground from your midground to your background, or you can use the rule of thirds to set up additional framing. If your subject is in one background, you can put the separation between that background and the next background along one of the lines of your rule of thirds. There's so many ways you can use it, and also so many ways you can break it, which leads me to my second compositional guide, which is symmetry. And that's where you take your subject and you put that in the center of your frame. What you're basically trying to do is take your photograph down the center and make the left side balance with the right side, or maybe the left side balance with the right side. I don't know how that works. Anyway, another compositional guide is using your diagonals, and that is taking a diagonal slash across your frame. For example, the upper right corner down to the bottom left corner, and the opposite. So sometimes you have to visualize these by yourself because they may not be available on your photographic equipment on your rear display or in your iCup. What diagonals really do is they help you with compositional tools. For example, leading lines. Now we'll get into compositional tools. Leading lines is a very strong compositional tool where you arrange your photograph in such a manner that things point towards your subject. For example, this path that I'm walking on, if I was taking a photograph of that, I could use that to direct your eye to me. And that's what the leading lines do, is they take the viewer's eye and they direct it towards your subject without detracting from the subject, hopefully. These are all just the basics. As human beings, we're all basically the same height, and we all view the world in pretty much the same way. So one of the ways that you can make your photographs stand out is by using a different perspective. For example, if I took you and put you up like this, you're getting a very different perspective than when we were straight on. And the same is true if I take and put you right down there. I mean, the same's true for video, same's true for photography. So that's the really basics on perspective. But give it a shot, because you kind of, I mean, you're not taking up photography so that you can look just like everybody else on Instagram. You want your own individual shots, and you want them to be out there in the world with your stamp on them. And really quickly, I'm just going to touch on lighting because that is a huge subject which could span multiple videos. Lighting. Even right now, I'm in the noonday sun pretty much, so it's coming straight down on me, which kind of is shielding my eyes, putting a lot of harsh shadows on my face. These are things that you don't want in your photography. You don't want them in your videos either, but you know, it is what it is. So you're going to hear the terms, the golden hour, which is the hour from when the sun crests the horizon in the morning for 1 hour, and then the hour before the sunset. What that does is it creates a nice golden light, but it's also a directional light. And when you get that directional light coming in from the side, it creates an additional drama, an element that just makes your subject stand out when used properly. And also, you'll hear about the term blue light, which is the 45 minutes to an hour after sunset and before sunrise, where you can use the blue light to your advantage. And I'm out here in the harsh light of day, and that's fine. You can actually use that as a compositional element. I've taken several woodland photographs where the light is streaming down in shafts, and sometimes it can cause confusion and chaos, but at other times it can create complexity. And so when the shadows are dancing just right, even in the harsh light of day, you can still get great photographs. Lighting is such a deep subject, but this is the very basics. So those are the very basics of lighting. Use what light you have. Last thing I want to talk about is leaving space for your subject to breathe. When you're creating your composition and you've got your subject, you want a little bit of headroom over the top, and if you're getting the side view like this, you want whatever your subject is looking at, you want to give that room. It's called looking room. You want to give that space to the whatever direction your subject is looking at, whether it's a car or a camera or a person or wildlife. You want the space to be in front of them instead of behind them. And that's giving your subject some breathing room. And that is the very basics. Now I'm going to put a couple of photographs up on screen and we'll discuss them in the studio. I'll see you there. All right, so these are some images that are about 5 years old now, and I took them with my old Canon camera. But it doesn't really matter what camera that I took them with, because what we're talking about in this video, of course, is composition. So here's the first image, and I've drawn the rule of thirds grid lines on there for us. When we look at this picture, what's the subject? We've got the lighting off to the right, and then this great big shadow off to the left, and there's nothing there. Obviously the background isn't blurred enough to make this a nice macro picture. And so what is the focus of the picture? I mean, there's the whole plant, but is it this flower? Is it this flower? Is it that dead flower in the middle? There's no story. What's the point of the picture? We're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so first and foremost, I figured out how to draw straighter grid lines. And secondly, this truck is intruding into 2/3 of the picture. So, I mean, is it a picture of the truck? And if it is, what's the story it's trying to tell? I mean, there's a truck. There's a windmill in the background. It's just kind of hidden by the truck. There's a shed. It's kind of hidden by the truck. And I mean, there's no story to tell. There's not really any rule of thirds. Honestly, I think it could be better. Also, when you take a look at the light, you'll see by the shadow that it's early afternoon, so it's harsh lighting. So I think I recognized this, and I came back later in the afternoon and I took another photograph. As you can see, we've made some major improvements to this photograph. First by moving the truck off to the right-hand side and exposing the entire windmill. And secondly, catching the windmill in action with a 1/2 second shutter speed. You can also see that the lighting is a lot better. Overall, this is a much better composition with the truck centered in between the horizontal lines of the rule of thirds. You'll also see that the trees straddle that left-hand line. So overall, this is a lot better photograph. I think I looked at it on the back of my viewfinder and I felt like I could do better. So there's one more image that I want to take a look at, and we'll talk that over. So as you can see, we've really kind of nailed this photograph now. We've put the windmill in the center. The grill of the truck is on the lower right-hand crossing of the thirds lines. The sky is separated from the land by the top horizontal line, and the midground is separated from the foreground by the bottom horizontal line. The left-hand line separates the two trees, and the shed starts right there at the left-hand line and extends to the right. Furthermore, we've centered the windmill, and that crossing bar is almost dead center horizontally, and the vertical lines of the windmill are almost dead center on the vertical plane. So overall, we've kind of changed the focus of the photograph from the truck to the windmill because we've caught it in a 1/2 second blur. It's all lit up with the evening light, plus the solar lights that are on the windmill have come on. And it really kind of accentuates the windmill itself whereas the truck has become more of a character piece. But you'll notice that we have a lot of looking distance from the front end of the truck to the left-hand side of the photograph, and there's also a lot of headspace between the top of the truck and the top of the hill there. So overall, I mean, it's not a perfect photograph because it's quite a bit more active on the right-hand side than it is on the left-hand side. But overall, over the 3 photographs, I've really improved how I've used the rule of thirds and the symmetry with the windmill and balancing the photograph out. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Which photograph do you like the best? And if you have any other things to comment on, just let me know, because I would love to hear them, and I would love to make more videos about what you guys want to hear about. Okay, put in the reps. I'll see you out there. Which gets you closer, but it makes this amount of see, lighting. Oh, there we go. Ways to draw a person's eye while you're forming your composition. Oh boy. Today we're going to be talking about the very basics of composition. So if you don't know anything,